right, guys, we are going to start with our first project, which is our gnome board art. So we're going to be making a gnome painting on a board, and it's also string art. So there's a lot involved here. So we're going to go through the process. We're going to start with staining our board and then outlining our gnome. And then from there, we're going to go into the stringing and painting process. So let's talk a little bit about what you have in your kit, okay? The first thing you have is you have a board, all right, just like this. All right, you also have a pattern like this. You also have this little dish right here with a little sponge in it. This is our stain. With our stain, we also have a glove, a plastic glove, okay? Because the stain is gonna stain your hand, right? Of course, it's stained, so why wouldn't it? You're also going to have a plate for mixing paint. You're also going to have some paint in your kit, and this is going to be good paint for your board art and also for the canvas that we're going to talk about too. You have some fur or hair for the beard. You also have some red string for the hat. You also have a template like this that you're going to use. All right, and this is gonna put some words on for you. Excuse my stretch, I saw something I forgot. You're also going to have some nails, all right? Some nails, all right, that we're gonna use. And you are going to have a little round piece for the nose that you're gonna paint, okay? And then we're gonna hammer it in. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? All right, so here's my board. I'm gonna put my glove on right here. And this is, again, just protect my hands. And remember, we've got a plastic tablecloth down, my trusty plastic tablecloth. It's going to keep everything nice and clean because we don't want to make a mess, right? I'm going to throw in extra sponges for you guys too, because who knows, you might need them. So the first thing we're going to do, this sponge has the stain on it already, see? And we're just going to rub it in. Just rub it in. So that is how we stain our board, all right? Just like that. All right, try to go with the grain of the wood. So I'm going up and down, and when I say the grain of the wood, you can see the lines in the wood. So we want to go up and down with those lines, okay? So like you're following along with the lines in the wood, all right? And if you notice here, it's getting a little darker because it kind of concentrates that way, the way I'm rubbing. So you can always go the other way if you want. Just kind of mix it up so that if you're putting more pressure when you're coming down or you're putting more pressure when you're going up, that the stain will get in the right spot, all right? So then our stain is done, all right? And then we have our template, all right? So what we're gonna do with our template is we are gonna transfer that onto here, all right? Let's see, we are going to, first things first is we want to figure out where we want it. So I'm going to put mine kind of off to the side because these little words are going to go in here like that. So we want it kind of off to the side as far as you can go without it falling off in order for your words to fit in there, okay? The way we transfer it is you're going to take a pencil, if you got a pencil at home, and you're going to flip your paper over and you can see the lines. And I've kind of started here already. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil and you don't have to do the whole thing. Just concentrate where those lines are. All right, so wherever you see those lines, we're going to just go really hard with the side of our pencil. What this does is this is creating a way to transfer this image, all right? And I'm going to show you how that works in just a second. You can then take your board. Again, we're going to line it up kind of close to the edge over here on this side because we want to have plenty of room over here for the words. All right, well, we'll try to do it this way. Let's try to do it this way. All right, so I've got it all scrabbled on the back, right? All right, and it's fitting on my board okay. Right there's the edge of my board. My foot's not sticking off. All right, so now I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm going to push down really firmly on those lines, and this is going to give me a template to follow. And your wood is kind of soft, so it might even make a little indent for you. Oops, I went off a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. All right. Again, I'm not going to worry about his beard, but you can if you want. If you scrabbled on the back for the beard, you can definitely transfer the beard. I'm just focusing on my hat. So, and I'm actually going to take a line here across where his nose is. Oops. And go ahead and go straight across there. All right. Just because this is going to be our string art here. All right. So if you look really closely, I don't know if you can see it, but very faintly you can see that line, right? You can see his hat right there. You can see his nose. There's a little bit of a glare, so it might be a little bit hard. But it's there. It's just barely there, right? Perfect. All right. So then I'm going to take my paint, and you guys will also have some brushes. I've got some brushes and water right here that I'm going to use. And I think I'm going to make my guy's feet black. So then from here, we're going to paint his feet, and we're going to paint his body, all right? So I am going to take, excuse me, some black paint so that I can do the feet. I'm going to paint in the feet. All right. So I've already painted in my feet. I also started on my body, and what I wanted to show you here was I want to do my body a more of a yellow color, and because my yellow is a little bit more translucent, you can kind of see the wood grain through it. So I went ahead and put some white on there. You'll also notice that it comes to like a weird just stop, and that's because if you look at our pattern, right, the beard's going to cover up all of that, and so you really don't have to paint underneath that. So you can kind of just take it up at an angle on either side of his nose, and you can just kind of stop there. All right, so that's what I did there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with my yellow paint, because like I said, I wanted to do more of a yellow, except for because the yellow is so translucent, you can see through it. I want to go ahead and lay some white down. Kind of like, if you look at my yellow, you'll see there's some dark spots and light spots. I like that look. I feel like it gives it some texture. So, you know, don't focus too much on everything has to be completely blended, because sometimes not blended is nice. Clean up my shoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to get some black paint, and I'm just going to go over those areas that I accidentally got the yellow on. Just make those lines nice and crisp. Yes, I gave you a pattern, but it's a basic pattern. If you wanted to add some designs on the body, or if maybe you want, oh my goodness, what I did there. Or if you wanted to add maybe some shoelaces on the shoes, you could do that. Perfect. All right. So from there, what we're going to do is we are going to cut our beard so that we can have the right size. Your beard is going to go from one end of the hat to the other, one end of the hat to the other. You want to make sure your fur, your hair is going downwards when you cut it, right? We don't want it to be the other way. That's just kind of weird. So I'm going to use this fur, and I'm going to measure it, and it's almost the right length. So, and I'm going to try to cut all of yours so they're the same. So it looks good to me. So now I just have to cut it into a point, right? So I'm just going to fold it in half like this, and I'm going to get some scissors. And because it's at a point, I know that I can go from one end to the next, and I can just cut, cut, cut straight down into a point. And always cut off a little, and then you can always cut off more and more as you need it, right? So there's, I think I want them a little bit more pointy. So now, as long as your paint's dry, you don't have to worry about the fur getting stuck in it. And then we're gonna line it up, and yep, that looks about right. Right? That's where it's going to be. Perfect. So we're going to actually use our nails to hold this in. All right? And that's where our string art's going to come into play. So we're going to take our nails, and we're not going to nail right in the middle because the nose is going to go there, and we're going to use our nail for that as well. Boop, like that. Okay? So I'm going to start, I'm just going to do the two corners. I'm going to make sure that my nail goes into the fur. I'm going to hold it. So I've got my nail, right? Get my paint water out of the way so you guys can see as close as possible. So my fur has that fabric back, right? And that's what's gonna hold it in place if I put my nail through that. So I wanna make sure my nail goes through it. So you can kind of look at it and you can push your nail through in the corner. Ugh, like that, right? And you can line that up with the corner of where your hat is, get it in place. Oops, and I'm just using that as a guide, okay? So there's my nail. I'm gonna hammer it in. And this is not the time when you wanna hammer all the way through. Okay, guys, we're not hammering all the way through because we're gonna use these nails for our string, all right? All right. You want it to not go all the way through the back. My back is blue because I was gonna paint it blue, but I changed my mind. All right, you don't want it to go all the way through the back, and you want it to be sticking up, all right? So then we're gonna do the opposite side. All right, again, I'm making sure it's going through the fabric, not just through the fur here on the edge, but actually through the fabric as well. All right, and we wanna get as close to the corner as possible because that's gonna be the point, the edge of our hat as well. Because essentially what's gonna happen is that's gonna be where our hat's gonna take off from, guys. So those two nails right there, you see them? Those two nails almost look like it has teeth, right? Those two nails are right here and here, right there at the edge of the hat. And then we're gonna put nails all the way up like that, okay? All right, so then we're gonna just follow our line, and I'm gonna go ahead and darken this a little bit so you can see it as I go. Right, perfect. And we are going to start nailing in about an inch away. And we're careful not to hit our hands, right? If it starts to go kind of crooked, you can kind of give it a little tap, all right? Or you can pull it out and start all over again. All right, guys, so I've got most of my nails in. I'm just gonna put my last nail in here. Oops. I think we're gonna add real quick. Could be best if we did one. A couple here. We want to leave just one on each side here because we need to make sure we have room for the nose. So I'm gonna add him on at the end. Also, we make sure that that beard stays in place, right, guys? We want the beard to stay in place. We got this string, all right? So what you're gonna do is you are going to take one end of your string and you're just gonna tie it. Make sure it gets on there. It's right there on the head. See that? Tying that on there. Again, tie it. Nice. All right, once you get it on there, see it's on there. Right, it's there, it's secure. All right. Now, I want you to pay close attention to the fact that I got this little point here. I made sure I put a nail right here in the tip of that hat, okay? So this is where we get have a little fun. And we are going to take our string, okay? And we're gonna wrap it around. Let's see if you guys can see that. We're gonna wrap it around the nail and then go across this one and wrap it around that one. And then around, and then up here the next one, and around. Right, and we're gonna go all the way around the whole thing. All right, so we're gonna all do that, and I'll be right back. We've wrapped all the way around, right? So I'm even gonna wrap back around this last one. So from here, you guys can crisscross over to different sides. So I'm gonna go maybe from here to here. I'm gonna wrap around, and then I'm gonna crisscross back over here and wrap around. I'm gonna wrap around twice so I can go across. I'm gonna wrap around and go across. And it doesn't really matter which direction you wrap around, you just wanna make sure that it's on there. And around. Oops. Oops. See, it's kind of tricky. Okay. And then we're gonna go, but it's okay if you miss some because we just want to crisscross them, get them around there. From here, I can go to over here. You just want to go to the next one, so I'm gonna go up here. Oops. Up here. Ooh. All right, so now it looks like I could probably go here, right? Or here? Nah. You see that? I think I'm gonna go this one. Go to this one, across it, and going to tie it off. That's all you're doing is tying it. So however you can tie it off on a nail, that's what you want to do. You just want to make sure that it goes tight. All right, tight, 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 tight. Okay. Right. So where you go back and forth a lot of times if we wanted to. You could also paint in your hat if you wanted to and not do the nails at all, or paint in your hat and then do, maybe paint in your hat white and then put the red across. That'd be kind of cute too. All right, so once that's done, then we're gonna move on to our stencil. And truth be told, it probably would have been better to do our stencil first, but we're just gonna go with it, okay guys? So I'm gonna cut my stencil because it's a little big, and we've done stencils before. That looks like it kind of fits right there, so I'm gonna go with it. So we're going to pull this piece, and we're gonna be very careful to make sure that all of, oh, see that piece is coming, stayed behind. You wanna put it back down, rub, 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 and make sure it comes up with it. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right there. All our little, oh, there's one trying to stay behind. We're gonna push it down. Yay, we got them all. So then we're gonna line this up so it's on here. Making sure all of our bits are on the, fit on the board, nothing's hanging off, right? All right, you can use a credit card. I'm gonna use this right here. You can use a credit card. The edge of something flat and sharp is all you need, guys. Okay, you can even use your fingers if you want. You just wanna make sure you're pushing those little, in between those little, that little A, that little blue, you wanna make sure that's staying down. That's what we're trying to do here, okay? So once you get that all down, then we are going to take that red line sheet off, okay? And I'm very, very carefully, see that? I'm very, very carefully making sure that all those little middle blue parts stay behind, right? We want all the blue to stay behind, guys. It's lifting right there. Oh, look at, I lost part of my E right there. So I'm gonna push that down and try again. And stay down that, oh, my R is coming up, so I'm gonna push that little, squeeze that down there again, okay? Everybody's staying down. Oh, that A decided to come up, so I'm gonna push that down in there. Okay. There we go. All right, so you see that? All of our pieces are in there. Everything's down nice and stiff, right? Nice and stiff. Once we get it, everything pushed down, we can use that credit card again, whatever we're using, we can kind of rub it to make sure everything is down, okay? Very good. All right, so once we have that down, the other thing you have in your kit is this little bottle of Mod Podge. This is really good because what it does is it helps seal, so we're just gonna put a little bit of Mod Podge there on our palette. All right, guys, and we're gonna gently sponge it over those letters, okay? What that's doing is it's creating a nice seal, okay, to help it, so your paint doesn't squeeze accidentally underneath those letters, because we want those letters to stay nice and sharp. All right, so we're gonna squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. All right. And again, you're making sure that blue is down nice and tight, guys. All right, there's no little bubbles sticking up or anything. All right, once you get your Mod Podge down, we want to dry it. So I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer. Right, once it's all dry, now I can take some white paint, take my white paint and use my sponge and pull some white paint out. Okay. Okay, I always sponge here to the front a little bit where there's a bare spot, so I can take some of that paint off. Not a bare spot, but where there's a blue spot that doesn't have a stencil, nothing's cut out. And then I'm gonna gently, and the trick is you wanna use a little bit of paint. You don't want to squish in a heavy amount of paint. You want a little bit of paint at a time, all right? What that's gonna do with the Mod Podge is it's gonna create a little crust, okay, around those letters so that no paint bleeds through. There we go. Remember, it's many light coats is better than one big globby heavy coat. So we're just gonna keep on going like that. Gotta keep on going. You know what, guys? I decided that I wanted to make where it says Gnome, I wanted it to be black. So I'm gonna go ahead, because you know we know that the black will go over the white no problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and just very carefully take some black paint and go over where I know it says Gnome. All right, so I think that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up. Not too bad for going in after the fact and making that gnome black, right? Got a little bit of white still there, and I got a little bit of black there, but I'm not worried about that, all right? Not worried about that at all. Let's talk about our nose real quick. If I can find my nose, I lost it. Oh, there it is. Here's my nose. Here's my nose. I painted it pink already. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my nail, and I'm gonna just nail it right down there in the middle of that. Very gently, very gently. Once you get your nose in there, you can take your little paintbrush and just paint over the top of that. Not bad, not bad. Right? A fun thing to do too is you can take a skinny paintbrush and you can take some white paints and add just a little highlight on his nose right there. Oh, a little highlight on his nose. Right, we can add a little highlight on his shoe right there. Shh. Give him some dimension. Shh. Like that. There you go. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Right, and we know where the little extra blue pieces are because it would be in the middle of an A. Anywhere there's supposed to be a little spot, a little open spot in your letter. All right, it's kind of hard for me to do it holding it up for you guys, so. And then I'm going to do all the white ones first. And sometimes getting it to stick in there is really hard. There we go. Ah, got it. Come on, there it is. And there we go, guys. That's our finished one. What do we think? Kind of cute, right? He's a cutie. I like a little beard. All right. Now,